Today's shout out is for Zuldinga. Continuing with this 1v1 trial run, Lathril up against Chatterfang. Couple of Golgari commanders. That's not a good opening hand. We could do better than that. Yeah, that's already better with 3 mana dorks in hand. Argument to be made for keeping Toxic Deluge over the prowess. Our opponent could wipe the board on us. Yeah, just in case they get ahead of us, I'll keep the Toxic Deluge, get rid of the enchantment. And our opponent copying us with a Jiraga Warcaller, or Tree Speaker even. Jiraga Tree Speaker is the spell we'll cast here. It's noteworthy that Priest of Titania taps per elf on the battlefield, so obviously the Jiraga Tree Speaker counts towards that. They level up their Jiraga and get out another elf for us. That's Llanowar Elves, and then with the additional mana, that is a Worldly Tutor searching for a creature, putting it on top of the library. And it's another elf in Oracle of Muldaya, so don't think this would be an elf tribal deck, but maybe. So we of course want to level up the Jiraga ourselves. It's 2 to level up, and then it taps for 2 mana, so it's effectively a free level. And then with any surplus mana later on, we can have all of our elves tap for 2 apiece. Anyway, get down the Priest of Titania. Like I said before, we'll tap for a green per elf on the field, which is going to be 5 mana because Oracle of Muldaya hits play now, and revealing on top there an Acorn Harvest. So we get an untapped land. I'll try and get down the Woodland Chasm here. So let's go for Marwyn the Nurturer first of all, because that will trigger on elves entering play. Drew into Patriarch's Bidding previously, by the way, so not as scared of a board wipe here. And then we'll get our commander Lathril, Blade of the Elves, into play. And that triggers the Marwyn, putting a plus counter on that, so it will tap for more mana. And then we might as well tap the Jiraga Tree Speaker for mana and put a level counter on itself. In the regular commander room here, so we do start at 40 life as opposed to the 1v1 room, which has a different ban list. In the 1v1 room you start at 30 life. They just played a land off the top there, and now revealing a Squirrel Sanctuary. And now getting their Chatterfang into play before they start making some tokens. And then playing themselves a Voyaging Satyr to untap a target land, so no doubt wanting to go for Gaia's Cradle, something like that. And yeah, just more mana for us, unfortunately. So there's an argument to be made for us going Toxic Deluge, wiping the board, and then reanimating all of our stuff, but they could just name Elf with that. Would get rid of their Chatterfang and Satyr though. We'll see if they want to chump block with anything. Lathril does have Menace, so they'll have to double block on that. They do decide to double block, so we will get rid of their Voyaging Satyr here, and they will get rid of Lathril. And we'll put Lathril back in the command zone because we can easily recast it here. Oh, actually, completely forgot to level up the Jiraga Tree Speaker. Had surplus mana there, definitely should have done that. Oh, there's a Maelstrom Pulse on top. That'll be really good against our bunch of elf tokens. They play Squirrel Sanctuary, which we saw previously, so making an additional squirrel thanks to the commander. And starting to blow up our things with the Chatterfang, so yeah, I think it might be worth us going for this Toxic Deluge after all. Now Acorn Harvest, creating this will be 4 squirrels, and Chatterfang swings in towards us. That has Forest Walk, so it comes straight through. And there is a Viridian Shaman, no artifact to blow up, so I think it's going to be worth holding off on that for now. Throw out the forest. And I think we are just going Toxic Deluge, unfortunately. So let's tap both of these for mana. Dump 3 life into this to make sure we get rid of the Chatterfang. And then that triggers the Squirrel Sanctuary, so they can pay 1 into that, but obviously don't have any mana. Not going to return Lathril to the command zone. And then all these elves are going to come back because we cast a Patriarch's Bidding, and that allows our opponent to name a creature type as well. So we will just level up the Jiraga Tree Speaker, and Marwyn actually gets buffed up to a 4/4 there. So they've got the Maelstrom Pulse in hand, and Reclamation Sage as well. Maelstrom Pulse probably goes on the Priest of Titania, leveling up their Tree Speaker. Maelstrom Pulse once again going on the Priest of Titania. They're down to 1 card in hand. And once again they do have to double block on the elves again, so we've got a chance to get into some elf tokens here. There's a No Mage Shepherd which we can get rid of the Sanctuary with. So let's swing in with our commander. Don't have any buffs for that yet, unfortunately. And this manages to hit, so we get some more elf tokens into play. each of which buffs Marwyn the Nurturer, puts it further and further away from Chatterfang. And then we'll tap down Marwyn, get out the Null Mage Shepherd. Can tap down some elves with this, of which we will have exactly 4, so we can get rid of that, like I said. Level up the Tree Speaker again. Don't feel as bad for not leveling it up before, because we were going to blow it up anyway. Revealing our hand a little bit here, showing them that we don't necessarily have any removal. I mean, we've still got 3 mana available to us, so they could still play around that, but this gets up to a level 4, so next turn all of our elves are going to tap for green, which I don't think particularly matters here. Birds of Paradise on top of the library. So Chatterfang coming into play once again with no tokens, and we might as well get rid of their enchantment. Oh, just another land. This is really not good. Yeah, there's not really any point swinging into the Chatterfang then, unless we want to try and get rid of that Oracle of Muldiah, which is probably a good idea. I mean, we're seeing what cards they're drawing into, so getting that data might be worthwhile. But they can also clear cards off the top and fix their draws a little bit better, so yeah, we'll challenge them to double block on Lathril, and they'll have to get rid of their Oracle if they want to do that. Does mean we're piling command attacks onto Lathril, unfortunately. They let it straight through because they want to keep Oracle, which is the right thing to do here, I think. And we're going to have to start swinging in with Marwyn soon, I think, because that has jumped up to being a 9/9. So we'll get the last level counter on Jiraga, and all of our elves are going to tap for 2 mana. A Grim Backwards is 4 mana. Tap and sack a creature to draw. Awakening Zone on top of the library. They flash back the Acorn Harvest, so can start killing off creatures for us. Then playing that Birds of Paradise from their hand. Swinging straight through with the Chatterfang because they feel safe behind the squirrel tokens. Just hoping for not another land, but yeah, we're not going to do anything this game, I don't think. We've drawn into too many lands here, which is the last thing you want to do with a Elves deck. We can deal with the Awakening Zone easily enough at least. Surprised they didn't go for the destruction of anything with Chatterfang, although they obviously like these squirrel tokens. Growing Rights of Itlamok. That is another card that we can also deal with thanks to it being an enchantment. And they sacrifice a squirrel token in order to draw a card to their land. Coat of Arms is something they are not going to want to play. So playing out the Growing Rights of Itlamok. And they need 4 or more creatures for this. They did just get a land off the top. Don't think they revealed a creature, unfortunately for them. They have Vamp Tutor on top to grab what they need though, so things going much better for them. And before that even goes on the stack, we'll blow up the Itlamok. Alright, here we go. Something that is relevant, please. Alright, Rex Sage is totally irrelevant. Getting into all the artifact and enchantment removal. So we'll just swing in with Marwyn. Can't remember if I actually did that last turn, should have done. And they just take a massive hit for 9, surprisingly. Vamp Tutor shuffling away the Draykeeper. We'll actually see what they tutor for here. Yep, that is a Gaia's Cradle, that's what we talked about before. There is another land on top in Misty Rainforest. So levelling up their own Jiraga Tree Speaker all the way here, I dare say. Both at a bit of a stalemate here apparently, noteworthy that they are wanting to hold back Chatterfang as a potential blocker maybe. Anyway, we're going to draw a land here regardless. Alright, Cover of Darkness, that's actually relevant. So it's only black creatures that we're going to worry about there. Noteworthy again that this does affect all elves in play, but I'm not really worried about their elves in all honesty. And it looks like they might have something for us anyhow. Maybe going for a Chatterfang activation. Yep, getting rid of those tokens is actually not terrible. So we will return it back to the command zone. I think this will cost 8 now. Yeah, that costs 8. So if we turn everything in sideways here, it's 10, 14, 15, 16. Don't think we need to commit that much. We can go all in next turn. So let's just go in with the 9/9 here. Maybe should have played out Lathril to give that an extra point of power there, actually. Also, they could destroy Jiraga Tree Speaker here and not allow us to get out the Lathril because we've tapped down the Marwyn, so we can't use it for mana. So, yeah, that might be a misplay as well. Alright, sacrificing the Birds of Paradise. And there's that Coat of Arms again after getting shuffled around. So we can see that that's coming. Knowing what's coming from the Oracle of Muldiah is really helping us here because, yeah, could have tapped these down for mana but won't necessarily do that now. So getting Lathril into play once again. And once again we will pass over to our opponent. Cover of Darkness could be a really good top deck for us. we see a Fated Intervention. That is 3 Centaur tokens, and they shuffle that away with the fetch land. And instead it is a Gaia's Anthem, which is no good on top of their library. Do have their back against the wall here. But there's a Rex Sage to save the day. Don't think we saw the Rex Sage. Maybe they tutored for that, I can't remember. Well, we're going to force them to start chump blocking with the Marwyn, by the way, but they can do that all day. Awakening Zone won't do anything for them thanks to the No-Mage Shepherd. And then sacking the Rex Sage to draw a card again. Oh, and there's Tooth and Nail, yep. This card might be worth running in this deck because it's actually done a lot of work for them during this stalemate. Not sure how often these types of games will come up though. At turn 11 here. End of the turn, blow up the Awakening Zone by tapping down 4 creatures. Okay, and a Farhaven Elf, so yeah, the mana continues apparently. Just swing in with Marwyn the Nurturer, force them to block with likely the Llanowar Elves. Could have gone Farhaven Elf before then, I suppose, but yeah, they're just allowing this through, so maybe wanting to win with the Tooth and Nail. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Be an interesting win if they get it. Actually could have forced their hand there by going wide with everything, but they definitely would have chumped the Marwyn then, so all we really would have done was cleared their board. Wasn't expecting them to actually allow that through, to be honest, but I don't think it makes much of a difference here. They go for what I assume is an entwined Tooth and Nail. Shuffling away Jeweled Lotus. And putting on top of their library a Sylvan Tutor. And the cards they went for, yeah, pretty typical, is Crater Hoof Behemoth. Putting the Deep Forest Hermit on the stack first, or putting it on the stack last so it resolves first. So they'll get all the squirrel tokens and then Overrunners. And yeah, I think their smallest creature there is maybe this 15/15. So that was a well-deserved game, I think. I don't think there's anything that we could have done there. Like I said, they would have chumped the Marwyn if we'd had lethal on them. And we just really were not drawing into anything in that game, so I don't think we could have done much better than that. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.